Most people read the story of Zacchaeus as a cute Sunday school story about a short man who climbed a tree. But when you understand what Zacchaeus actually did for a living, how much the people of Jericho despised him, and why Jesus chose him specifically out of an entire crowd, you realize this is not a children's story at all. It is the most radical act of deliberate social inclusion in the entire New Testament. In approximately 29 AD, in the city of Jericho in the Jordan Valley, Jesus was passing through on his way to Jerusalem. The crowds were massive. Everyone wanted to see him. Word had spread about miracles, healings, teachings that turned everything upside down. In that crowd was a man named Zacchaeus. The Bible introduces him with two pieces of information that would have made every first-century Jewish reader immediately understand why he was standing alone at the edges of that crowd. He was a chief tax collector, and he was wealthy. In Roman-occupied Israel, those two facts together told the entire story. Tax collectors were Jews who had purchased the right from Rome to collect taxes from their own people. They were required to collect a set amount for Rome, and anything above that they kept for themselves. The system was designed for exploitation, and Zacchaeus, as a chief tax collector, was at the top of that system. He had not just betrayed his people once, he had built a career out of it. Zacchaeus wanted to see Jesus, but he was short, and the crowd was not making room for him. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see over the crowd as Jesus passed below. Think about what that image looked like to everyone watching. The most hated man in Jericho, the one who had stolen from half the people standing in that crowd, sitting in a tree like a child. Desperate, exposed, ridiculous. The crowd probably laughed, or worse, ignored him completely. Because that is what you do to people who have made themselves untouchable by their own choices. You stop seeing them as human. Jesus reached the tree and stopped. He looked up and said, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." Three things about that sentence that the crowd would have heard as shocking. He knew his name. In a crowd of thousands, Jesus looked up at the most hated man in Jericho sitting in a tree and called him by name. Not, "Hey you," not tax collector. His name, Zacchaeus, the name his mother gave him. The name that had been turned into a synonym for betrayal and greed by everyone who knew it. Jesus used it like it still meant something. He said, "I must." Not "I would like to." Not "would you mind if." I must. The Greek word used, "dei," indicates divine necessity. This was not a polite social call. This was a divine appointment that had been scheduled before Zacchaeus ever climbed that tree. And he said, "Your house." Not the synagogue, not the home of a respectable community leader. The home of the man the entire city despised, the place nobody respectable would set foot in. Jesus chose it specifically. Zacchaeus came down immediately and welcomed Jesus joyfully. The crowd's reaction was instant and unanimous. They began to mutter, "He has gone to be the guest of a sinner." The word mutter in the Greek, diagonguzo, is the same word used for the Israelites grumbling in the wilderness. It was not just disapproval. It was collective outrage. How dare he go to that man's house? How dare he give that man the honor of his presence, after everything Zacchaeus has done? But something was happening inside Zacchaeus that the crowd could not see. Jesus had not yet said a word about his profession, had not mentioned the stealing. Had not issued a single moral condition for his visit. He had simply chosen him. By name, with necessity. And that choosing, before any confession, before any repentance, before any change of behavior, broke something open inside Zacchaeus that years of religious condemnation had never touched. Zacchaeus stood up and said, "Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. 4 times. The law of Moses required only the return of what was stolen plus 20%. Zacchaeus was offering for 100% restitution, voluntarily. Without being asked. Without being lectured. Without a single word of condemnation from Jesus. Being seen, being chosen, being called by name, did what no amount of public shaming had ever been able to do. It produced genuine, extravagant, voluntary transformation. Jesus looked at him and said, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. The Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Son of Abraham." Not former sinner on probation. Not tax collector who finally came to his senses. Son of Abraham. Full family membership. Full restoration of identity. Full inclusion in the covenant people of God. In one sentence, Jesus gave Zacchaeus back the identity that his own choices and everyone else's judgment had stripped from him. Shame operates through a specific mechanism in the human psyche. It does not just make you feel bad about what you did. It convinces you that what you did has permanently redefined what you are. That the category you have been placed in by your choices and other people's judgments is now your permanent address. Zacchaeus had lived in that address for years. Chief tax collector, sinner, traitor. Wealthy at everyone else's expense. The crowd knew exactly who he was, and they had decided that was all he would ever be. Their contempt had become his ceiling. Then Jesus called him by name, and the ceiling disappeared. In 2026, in a world where your worst moments can be permanently documented, permanently searchable, permanently attached to your name, the story of Zacchaeus is one of the most urgent stories in the entire New Testament. Because the internet does what the crowd of Jericho did. It decides who you are based on what you did, and it makes sure you never forget it. And it makes sure nobody else does either. But Jesus is still stopping under trees. Still looking up at the people the crowd has written off. Still calling names that everyone else has turned into insults. Still saying, I must stay at your house today. Not when you are better. Not when you have paid everyone back. Today. As you are. In the tree. Desperate and exposed and half hoping nobody notices you. He notices. He stops. He calls your name. Zacchaeus did not climb that tree expecting to be chosen. He climbed it just to see. Just to get a glimpse of something he could not reach from the ground. And Jesus turned that desperate glimpse into a divine appointment that changed the entire trajectory of his life. What tree are you sitting in right now? What desperate attempt to see something you feel too small, too far back, too known for the wrong things to reach, have you made recently, because Jesus is walking that road? And he is looking up. And he knows your name. Drop a comment below. Have you ever felt like Zacchaeus? Too far gone for God to stop specifically for you, because I want you to read the responses. And see how many people are sitting in that same tree right now. Share this with someone who needs to know that Jesus stops for the people the crowd walks past. Subscribe to Bible Study Hub for powerful Bible stories every single week. Our next video goes into the story of the prodigal son, of the boy who took his inheritance, wasted every cent of it, ended up feeding pigs in a foreign country, and the moment he decided to go home. That story is next.